Welcome to the Jacksonville First Seventh-day Adventist Church podcast, where we listen, learn, and love together. We hope you enjoy this inspiring message.
The many pictures of love and the many eyes of love through those people that spoke in that video is very funny, or the characters that they made up to be able to share how love is portrayed in a world among us human beings, to be able to share and reflect the thing that God is himself, which is love, because God is love. Today we dive into a topic that is dear to my heart, platform of love. Let's pray. Holy God, once again, we invite you to get closer to us, to open our hearts and our minds, to hide me behind the cross, and to show off your power in this place. We need you. We invite you. And we thank you for this. In Jesus' name, amen. One day I was spending time with God and reflecting on my life and on my journey on this earth. And so far I've lived on this planet for about 46 years. And so we'll be 47 next month, actually. That's crazy. But anyways, I was reflecting on my life, and I was just spending time with God and reflecting how he has led me in my life and what he's gotten me through and so on. And I realized something very important. I realized that it's all really about love. When you really think about it, when you put all the pieces together, all we have to do is acknowledge his rulership over all the earth, worship him as our creator, accept his rulership into our lives, and fall deeply in love with him. And as I saw the simplicity of this all, I also saw the complexity of it all. Because as human beings, it's hard for us to understand how grace and how love and how this amazing, great God has worked all of this for our behalf, on our behalf. Has somehow connected all the dots for us to be able to dig deeper into an understanding of who he is. But for a long time now, in fact, since I was in college, I had a personal mission statement. That personal mission statement was simply this: to love God with all my heart and help others do the same. That's all it was. It was simple. To love God with all my heart and help others do the same. And because of that personal mission statement and this reflection that I had, out of that was birthed this idea about doing a What About Love tour. That's how it came into existence. Listen to me. God's love for you and me is passionate, pure, and beyond anything we've ever experienced, accepting us as we are. I often see our relationship with God like a parent with a child before it's potty trained. Oh yeah, if you've been a parent or an aunt or an uncle or an older brother or an older sister and you have to take care of a baby or a child before it gets potty trained, you know how it goes. That's right. They got their diapers on, and all of a sudden, and you're like, oh. And if you're like me, you're hoping that your wife is near to you. Hey, honey, he did a number 2. You, me. Oh, me. Okay. You take the baby there, and you put him down, and you clean the nastiness in front of you. It's just gross. It really is disgusting and gross. There's just no nice word you can use. And the problem is that they do it over and over again. And you buy diapers and they do it over and over again. And they don't stop. It's like a daily thing, sometimes multiple times in one day. And you're thinking, why do you keep on pooping on yourself? This is driving me crazy. Gotta continuously clean you. Gotta continuously clean you. And I see us as human beings being that way. We're people that continuously mess up over and over again. We get dirty and nasty and gross. And God is like, here I am. I'm gonna clean you again. Because if we don't get cleaned, it gets worse. Those rashes begin. And all kinds of sickness can take place. But if we allow that great Father in heaven to clean us and purify us, and every time that we fail, we go ahead and do it over again and allow him to clean us, and every time we do it, he does. And that's an amazing God to me. And through the process, he's going to train us to be potty trained. So we can learn to maybe not get so dirty and allow that stuff to go down the toilet somewhere. But through that process, I don't know about you, but I never put my baby boys to wipe their nastiness. I never said to them, when are you going to stop this, you little punk? I'm tired of cleaning you. You're driving me crazy. Now, inside my heart, I might have felt a couple of things like, oh, this is again. But I never told my child that. I never said, you are the nastiest poop person in the world. Why do you keep on doing poo-poo over and over and over again? And I'm here cleaning you all the... I never said that to my child. I never made him feel bad for what he was doing, or even while I was potty training him, all of a sudden they're like, oh, Dad, I couldn't get to the bathroom. I'm so sorry. And it's an underwear now, right? There's no more diapers. You're like, oh, underwear. And you think, should I wash it or should I throw it away? Should I wash it or should I throw it away? And almost always we threw it away. We're like, we are not going to wash that nastiness, all right? We're just going to invest into new underwear. And so through that process, I never told my child, you are 1.5 years old. You are 2 years old. When are you going to learn to take that into the bathroom? I never chastised him or spanked him or did anything like that. And God doesn't do that with us either, does he? He doesn't put us into that box or make us feel bad because we dookie it in our underwear or anything like that. And I see that kind of love flowing out of that Heavenly Father to us as kids, and he tenderly and lovingly helps us and trains us and leads us. But even if we continue to dookie in our pants after being 46 years old or 56 years old or even older than that, God doesn't look down at us and say, you're no good. I'm going to give up on you. You're a total loser. I can't do this anymore. And as Pastor Peinado said last night when answering one of those questions that you texted into us, we are worthy not for what we can do or what we do, but simply because we are sons and daughters of the King. That's why we are worthy. And he longs to forgive us, bless us, and take care of us and wipe us clean. He loves us with an unconditional love. And we can know this in our heads, yet find it difficult at times to walk it out in our daily lives. We're busy, we're tired, we feel alone or broken, we're distracted, and we have a lot of distraction today in this day and age. We get offended, we harbor bitterness or resentment. But no matter what we might be facing or feeling, when we're willing to stand together as the body of Christ, dependent on God for the Spirit's fresh filling of power and love, all other things lose their hold on us. For God's love encompasses all. It reaches to every dark crevice and fills every need or longing. It gives power to forgive and to let go of the past. It releases sin's hold and gives peace to the hurting. It is powerful and surpasses on our own knowledge and understanding. It is wide. It stretches to greater expanse and extent than we can ever imagine. It is long. It encompasses the length of our days before and all beyond. It is high. It reaches to the highest heavens. It is deep. It extends to the deepest pit. This is a crazy thing. It is. It's a crazy thing. It is that same exact love that God desires to put into our hearts. So from the love that he has, he wants to put that in our hearts, that he desires to flow within our DNA, that same love that he wants to flood us with, so that as a result, we overflow that same love onto others, henceforth creating a platform of love. I believe love needs to be placed in its proper place. Love needs to be the platform by which we speak all our words, motivates all our actions, and notices people all around us. We were never given a commandment to judge or belittle or minimize. We were never given a commandment to do that. Yet as humans, we see that happening sometimes through our own lives. However, Jesus did give us a commandment to love. He spoke these words close to the day that he's actually crucified and said the following to his disciples in John 13. A new commandment I give to you, John 13, verses 34 and 35. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. That's the new commandment. New commandment I tell you guys, that you love one another. But then, here's the clincher. He says this, just as I have loved you, you are also to love one another. Which blows my mind to think that Jesus explicitly told us, a new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another. Okay, cool. The same way that I love you. Oh, man. Wow. Why? Why, Jesus? Why so deep? Why so strong? Why so hardcore? Then Jesus says, by this, all people, not just 50%, all people will know that you are my disciples, that you are my followers, if you have love for one another. So Jesus was very clear. If you love the way I love other people, everyone's going to know that you're a follower of me. He didn't say there, if you obey me, people will know that you're my follower. He doesn't say that. I mean, we should obey. That's a good thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But Jesus didn't say, if you obey me, they will know that you're my follower. He says, if you love one another, they're going to know that you're my follower. Because there's a lot of people out there that obey certain things already. Even different religions obey certain things already. They know about obedience. The Hindus know about, the Muslims, they know about obedience. But it's hard to see a group of people that love one another in such a way that all would know, whoa, they must be a follower of this Jesus. In ancient times, when Christians would be in prison, people would walk for miles to give their brothers and sisters something to eat in prison. The heathen Romans would be amazed by the immense amount of love displayed among these people called Christians. They're like, wow, they're so loving. And they were weirded out by that because it wasn't normal to do this. Loving like Jesus is our standard. And it needs to be placed in its proper place in our lives. Unfortunately, for many conservative Christians, and by that I include Seventh-day Adventist Christians, other things have been put on a platform. Other things other than love has been placed on this platform by which we speak strongly about. Some people have put obedience or fear have been placed on that platform. And let me tell you something, obedience without love doesn't make sense, and it's not sustainable. It's not. Your shelf life will not last very long until bitterness and resentment creep in. I've seen it. In my years of ministry, I've seen people where they were just die-hard obedient people into the letter of the law, but love was missing. And so resentment and anger creeped in, and so they end up leaving the church because it's not sustainable. This is true for the spiritual realm as it is in the human relationship spectrum as well. If you're doing something for someone out of simple obedience, there's a connection that's missing there, and it's not sustainable. It's that love connection. Fear is a totally different platform that Adventists particularly have abused with people that visit their churches, as well as allowed for fear to paralyze their understanding of God. We use some of these things, unfortunately, and I'm not saying that our belief is wrong. I'm saying the totally opposite. I'm saying that our belief is awesome through the eyes of love. But it's terrible when you focus on something without those eyes of love. You've heard people, they talk about, Sunday laws and the deception, the spiritual Babylon conspiracies and the Pope taking over, and the list goes on and on and on. All these end time prophecies, they talk about it over and over again, and books are written about it and stuff. I'm not saying that that's wrong. Please hear my heart. But what I'm saying is that that's never going to work without the filters of love. While all of the prophecy and eschatology is important, if it is allowed to be our platform, and you remove love, the result is a bunch of paranoid Adventists waiting for the latest papal declaration. And they're just watching it on Facebook or watching on whatever. What's going to happen next? Got to tell my peoples that something's going to go down. And adding to the mixture some misinformation regarding Revelation, and the date predictions come out, adding more fuel into the Adventist paranoia and obsession with last day theology. And again, please understand, I talk about last day stuff. I share things that are going to go down, that are in the Bible, that are going to go down. But I always filter that through the eyes of love. Because if you're simply feeding out information without seeing it through the eyes of Jesus and how he's forming it together, it's going to cause paranoia, and the wrong platform will be used. But if you filter everything through love and put things in the right perspective, lives are changed by the power of God's love, and that is sustainable. Paranoia is never sustainable. Fear is never sustainable. What is interesting is that there is some actual data on the psychology of fear versus love. It's very interesting. Because teaching love is a sustainable power that has more longevity in our lives. That is true. But that is harder to spread because our DNA, or the way that we have been raised, tends to lead us to enjoy fear-based thinking. And that's actual psychological. We enjoy that better for some reason. That's why fear sells. In movies, it outsells love stories all the time. In books, it outsells love stories or anything about that big time. It always outsells anything else that is written. Fear sells. In books, fear-based ones rake in billions of dollars and are far ahead of any other market. Now you understand why the news is so focused on fear-based stories. It sells and consumers watch. What's going to happen with the president? What went on in Ukraine? It goes on and on. They tell you all these terrible things over and over, and we're being fed, if you allow yourself to be fed, all the junk by the news, because they make money by those who watch, by the sponsors that pay them to put that out there. And so we are wired to hold on to fear-based thinking, even in the church. But it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable, and it creates people that are sometimes impassioned by this fear-based theology and not impassioned with what Jesus Christ did on the cross. That's why as a pastor, sometimes people would come up to me after I preached something on Revelation or Daniel or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, Pastor, thank you so much for talking about that. It just fills my heart to know that we're still teaching this stuff in the church." And it's almost like an addict. Oh yeah. I know I'm an Adventist now. Yes, I've heard it. I'm good again. While love has a hard time totally invading that person's heart. And maybe I'm talking to someone here today that knows what I'm saying. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to offend you at all. I'm simply saying that love needs to be the platform by which sustains every other pillar that we believe in. And that needs to be the DNA by which we are filled with God's love, that amazing love that he gives us. When love becomes a foundation to everything you believe, that power of love will sustain you. And then you can better understand last day events and prophecies. I know of a person, this person is a beautiful woman. I've known her since she was a little kid. Now she's a mother, 30-some-year-old mother and stuff like that. And she tells me, I have a prayer book that I pray for people. I pray for people every single day in my prayer book. Got some people in here that I pray for every day as well. And in that prayer book, I have her. Why? Because she called me one time and said, can you please pray for me? Because every single time I hear about last day events and all the stuff that's going to go on, you know, I really get fearful. And I get scared and paranoid, and it scares me a lot, and I hate it. And that's really the way that she's living. So I do pray for her and lift her up to God. Because in order to better understand these things, we must allow it to filter through the eyes of love, because only will you be sustained. And I understand what's going to happen in the future. But I don't care that much. Not that I don't care, but I'm not fearing it, in other words. I'm not probably saying this the right way, but I'm cool with it because I'm cool with Jesus, and he's with me, and I don't have to fear anything because he promises to never let me go. And I'm not going to freak people out and say, this is happening, you better give your heart to God now. Enter. No. You need to give your heart to God now, period, because he loves you and wants you and wants to dearly connect with you in a loving and an intimate relationship, which will make everything clearer in life. Listen to me. When we grow, and this right here is probably the heart of the message. Here it is. Here's the heart of the message. When we grow in our love with Christ, our faith will not be shaken. When we grow in our love with Christ, our faith will not be shaken. Many times you hear people talk about, hey, don't let your faith be shaken. Well, if you want to hold up that banner in your life and say, I won't let my faith be shaken, and you're not growing in your love with Jesus Christ, guess what's going to happen? Your faith's going to be shaken. And you're worried what happens at the end. I have a father-in-law that lives with me. I love this man with all my heart. He's 80-some years old. And my father-in-law is an amazing man of God. And we have these chats once in a while, and we talk, and he shares with me, you know what, I just read about how when we die, we go to the grave and we don't go straight to heaven, and we're going to have all these deceptions in the last days of people coming to us and demons coming to us, acting like if they're disciples or acting like if they're people that have passed away, and they're going to speak to us. And he goes to me, I just don't want to get deceived. That's my father-in-law talking to me. I'm looking at him like, what? What in the world did you just say to me? You don't want to be deceived. Really? Listen, father-in-law. This is the way it rolls. When someone that dies comes knocking at your door, you say, get thee behind me, Satan, because they're not real. It's about that easy. But for some reason in his mind, it's not that easy. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Listen. Then what we need to talk about is your relationship with Jesus Christ. That's what we need to talk about. Because apparently there's something in your mind that makes you think you're going to be deceived. And if there's anyone in the world on this earth that I know will never be deceived, it's my father-in-law. He's an amazing man of God. But he's still scared. When we grow in our love with Christ, our faith will not be shaken. So what is the challenge? To grow in our love with Christ. Sabbath observance for some Adventists has been put on that platform as well, where love belongs. The Sabbath itself is filtered, if filtered through the eyes of love, would be one of God's most beautiful gifts. But sometimes people put it as you got to do this or you can't do this. When God interacts with humanity, something new had been made in creation week. And this is true of when God began to interact with time as well. Because remember, God is timeless. For him, what is a day? He's timeless. So in creation, he does something amazing. We see from the beginning of the creation narrative that he marked time with morning and evening. Time for this planet is a new innovation. There's morning and evening. And for God, it's like, what today? I just live. Yesterday, today, and forever. But for us, he makes a new innovation. I want to be morning, I'm going to make it evening, I'm going to make you day. And then God decided that he would do something even more radical. He would make some of this new time holy or set apart. Hence, we read in Genesis chapter 2, verse 1 through 3, the following. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God finished his work that he had done. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work that he had done. So God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it God rested from all his work that he had done in creation. It's an awesome day that God has set aside for us. So through the eyes of love, Sabbath becomes an expression of our love and faith in Jesus Christ. And it is that love that we need to place on the platform. One more platform that we're famous for. Here you go. Some Adventists put the health message on their platform. And listen to this very sad statistic, because it is a very sad statistic. A survey was done from the General Conference throughout the readers of, I think, Adventist Review or some of those Adventist magazines. They compiled a study from these Adventists. It was done last year. The statement was this: following the health message ensures my salvation. Following the health message ensures my salvation. People have to put like totally agree, I'm not sure, or totally disagree. That kind of survey stuff that you've seen before. Following the health message ensures my salvation. Listen to this. 47, I said 47, not 27, in case you weren't listening. 47% agreed or strongly agreed. What? Are you kidding me? Now, I believe in our health message. Now, obviously, I may not follow it 100%. All right? You know, some things are hard to overcome, like Krispy Kreme donuts and stuff like that. Yes, it's true. I am a sinner. Sometimes I put Dookie in my underwear too. But to think that 47% of our world brothers and sisters believe that following our health message ensures our salvation is blasphemy. It's outrageous. It's crazy. And I am sorry if I'm offending those who believe in our health message. I'm not trying to. But it does not ensure your salvation. Oh, far from it. Health platform, Sabbath observance platform, eschatology or last day events, paranoia or obedience to God's law should not be placed on our platform. The only platform we should have is the platform of love. Then everything else makes sense. And it falls into its proper place. And so when you practice this platform of love, not just in your own spiritual journey, but in a way that you love other people and other people in a practical way, when we interact with other people, how does that look like? I'll share one story, and we're wrapping it up here right now. I'm in a small group in Central Florida with a bunch of older dudes in this one house that we meet once a month. I'm doing this because I have no community. In fact, being here with you all really blesses my heart because I get to see some of you like every night for the last 4 nights. And for a person that likes community, really likes that. Like, I get blessed by it. I even told my wife yesterday, I really miss being in churches. It's just really awesome to connect on a more regular basis. I do weekly, but not a more regular. So anyways, I'm saying all of that stuff to you because I needed community. And so I started going to a small group of these guys that are in the church that I'm a member of, which is the Hospital Church in Central Florida. And so I'm meeting in this house, about 7 or 8 guys, and we're just talking. And one of the guys named Richard. Richard is apparently a very rich guy, and he just likes to go biking, like motorbiking around the world. And so he's not that old. He's about 50 years old, and he has the means to go biking. So he was biking around Roanoke up north. And he was going through one of those very desolate roads with a lot of pebbles where they weren't going very fast, maybe about 20 miles per hour. They couldn't go very fast through this road. And there was no signal, no telephone signal, no cell phone signal, not even their special Army-issued walkie-talkies in the middle of nowhere. You can call someone. Not even that was working when they were going. It was crazy. And so they were going through this, and then all of a sudden, he misjudges a turn, and his bike and him start falling down a hill. Well, his partner, of course, stopped and saw what was going on, and he apparently had busted his shoulder and a leg and was trying to get up, and so his friend came down there and helped him to get up, and but they were in the middle of nowhere. They couldn't call anyone. So his friend goes and just goes backwards, and I remember seeing remotely a house somewhere. So he goes backwards, he finds his home, he goes into this home, and there's a guy that's living there. He's like, oh, yeah, no problem, I'll help you guys. And so he went over there in his Jeep and saw where the bike was. The bike was in a place that couldn't be brought up. It's not like one of those, light bikes. It's like one of those Harley Davidson that probably weigh more than a pickup truck. And so it was way down there, couldn't get there. But the man, he put him in his Jeep, and he took the 2 guys, put the other motorcycle in the guy's house, took the 2 guys an hour and a half to 2 hours away, one way, to get to the nearest hospital. That's how far they were in the country somewhere. So this one guy helped them and took them all the way to the hospital. Then as they were talking, they realized the stuff they had to do to the guy's shoulder and his leg, and so the person that owned the house, I don't remember that person's name, he said, oh, that's no problem. I can make sure that I take one of you to the airport, or the both of you if you want to, and we'll do that. And so they had nowhere how to get there. They were going to actually ride back, and they couldn't do that now. So both of them had to fly back because the guy was going to go by himself. And so he kept the guy's motorcycle in his place, and actually those 2 guys stayed in a hotel. He went over there to take them to the airport. Remember, this guy lives about 2 hours away. Goes another 2 hours again the next day, takes him to the airport. And my friend Richard, he's wanting to pay him. I'll pay you for this. I mean, this guy has a lot of means, so he can pay him. He's like, no, I'm not taking any of your money. Why would I take your money? This is something that we're supposed to do for each other. Takes him there, talks to him, says that he'll take care of his bike. The men that lived in that house had to rent a special vehicle to take down some chain to get his motorcycle out of those bushes, out of those hills. Then he brought the motorcycle back to his house. He repaired his motorcycle. My friend Richard goes back to his house, rents a car, goes there. His friend said, hey, listen, I've repaired your bike and everything's taken care of. He goes, oh, how much can I pay you? He goes, you don't have to pay me anything. It's all good. So we're supposed to do this for each other. These are total strangers. But that man in that house in the middle of nowhere, he lived with a platform of love. And of course, Richard, not knowing this man, receiving all this kindness, instantly he loves this guy now. I love you, man. They have this bond. And if Richard wouldn't be a Christian, the Christianity of the one man, because he was a Christian, that lived in that house, would have turned Richard's mind into becoming a follower of Jesus. Why? Because he showed love. He had a platform of love. Who does something like that? Someone that has the platform of love. It would be awesome if this church had the reputation where all of Jacksonville could say, every time I go or visit, I am loved by them Adventists. Not that they say, yeah, Adventists are vegetarians. They live long and are healthy. That's cool, but it's not going to change your heart. There's tons of vegans now that aren't even Christians. Yeah, them Adventists, they worship on this day. I think it's the seventh day. It's not Sunday, but they kind of do the same thing as Sunday people. That's okay. But wouldn't it be awesome if they said, man, that church, they love so much. They're transforming the community and their houses around there because they love so much. I have never seen a church that loves this much. I would love to see that kind of reputation for this church. I was watching a show last year with my wife, and one of the main characters of the show said the following: churches talk a lot about loving unconditionally, but for some reason, they have a lot of conditions. Churches talk a lot about loving unconditionally, but for some reason, they have a lot of conditions. There's a show, a totally secular show, that my wife and I were watching, and the character says this, trying to jab at churches around the world. This will not be said of churches that have a platform of love. Period. So make your platform of love in this place. And it begins with making that in your hearts.
This podcast is brought to you by the Jacksonville First Seventh-day Adventist Church. Connect with us on www.jaxsda.org or on Facebook and YouTube. We look forward to sharing more inspiring messages with you.